So here's where we have 2 chicken thighs and 2 chicken breasts. I'm actually going to be making a chicken tikka masala with all of these ingredients. I'm just going to trim that fat off the side there. Put that to one side. And then we're going to have the cubed chicken, which will be put in with yogurt and curry spices. So we're going to be putting the tikka part into the oven, and the masala part we're going to be doing on the stove on the top. So we've got some cubes there. So we're going to be putting this into cubes, so they're fairly bite-sized pieces. And then they're going to take up the spices quite evenly. So this is going to be enough for 5 people. So I've got 3 in my household plus 2 portions, which I'm going to freeze. And you could do this as cubes, or you could do it in long strips. Really depends on the type of curry that you're doing and what sort of look you're looking for. So I've already mentioned it in previous videos, we're looking at a red chopping board for red raw meat, and we'd use a yellow one for cooked meat. So I'm going to put some things in the bin. Wash my hands. At the moment we're singing happy birthday twice, aren't we? So you count 20 seconds on the video now. Hopefully I'll meet this requirement. Making sure that my hands are really clean at this difficult time. I'm using incredibly hot water, as hot as my hands can stand, and a paper towel to dry my hands. So the next bit is the tikka sauce. What we're going to be using is a tablespoon of curry spices. Normally I would grind the various ones down, and what we'll do in the meantime is we'll put that into the video which ones we normally use. This particular one's just from a normal curry spice jar. And we're going to use some 0% Greek yogurt to be able to mix that together. So I'm just going to put my board to one side. I'm going to use 2 tablespoons, possibly 3 tablespoons of the yogurt. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to add in my curry spices and mix around. You can put lemon juice in at this time as well if you want to, just to add a little bit of acidity, but I don't have any in at this precise moment in time, so we're going to do it the quick version. So any curry spices will do. This particular one's actually a korma, but it still gives the tikka type cooking method. Whoops. Oh, just banged the video. So I put my chicken in here, and the idea is it's going to marinate whilst I'm making my masala sauce. And the idea is to coat the chicken as evenly as possible. And the yogurt and the spices are going to help to break down the outside of the chicken to make it nice and tender, and it's going to make it nice and soft when it cooks. You can normally leave marinations on for about up to 30 minutes or so. Some people say to leave them overnight in the fridge, but really there is no benefit for to leave it on as long as possible. As long as it's on for about 10 to 15 minutes, it will start to do its work. So we're going to make sure that all of that chicken is completely covered. And we'll leave that to one side. If you're going to leave it for any length of time, obviously we need to put it in the fridge from 0 to 5 degrees Celsius. So I'll just leave that to one side for now whilst we prepare our sauce. Back in a moment while I wash my hands. So we've finished our masala sauce now, and what I'm going to do is put the chicken tikka pieces onto a foiled tray, spread them out nice and evenly, and bake them at about 180 degrees, that's gas mark 4, until they're cooked right the way through and they've reached a temperature of 75 degrees Celsius in the middle, until there's no pink inside and the juices run clear. There we go. Now you could use the grill for this, but you'd have to keep an eye on keeping them turning, etc. So I just find that it works really well popping it in the oven. So my chicken tikka is on the top shelf and my carcass ready for my stock, as well as some drumsticks and wings are there ready for some bristles or some broth ready to make as well. So whilst the chicken's marinating, we're going to now move on to our masala sauce. So we need some fresh ginger, some garlic, some curry spices, some passata and an onion. I'm going to use the scissors just to take the pouring spout off the passata. So that's ready now. Need that in a moment. Pop the spices and our garlic just out of the way. I'll show you how to chop an onion properly. So we've got the root, we've got the leaves. What we're going to do is we're going to go right the way through the centre. Have you ever wondered why you might cry when you chop an onion? It's actually because all of those juicy bits, oops, I should have had a paper towel on the side for all of the loose bits. Hold on. Obviously when you have this in class, you'll have your paper towel to one side. You'll also be using a brown chopping board for soily vegetables. Just unfortunately this is the only one that I have available in my home. So what we're going to do is we're going to chop half of it. We're going to take the tip off and we're going to leave the root. The root is the bit that actually makes us cry. So the least amount of activity on that root will help us to keep the onion intact and also our mascara if you wear it. Right, so let's have a little look. So I'm going to peel this back. And what we're going to do now is we're going to do some action whereby we're going to chop through using safely bridge and the claw method, but we're not going to go right the way through to the tip, like so. Then we're going to go towards our fingers just very, very, very carefully. Again, this knife's very sharp, but not right the way through. Then we're going to use our claw to pop it into even shape. Oops. Oops. Now you can actually leave that end bit, or you've got one of these WYSIWYG things. It's an onion holder, onion comb. You should be able to hold it there and pop it straight through to get the remainder of the onion, and then the root can be popped on there. Okay, and repeat the same with the other half, which I'll do in a moment. Now we're going to go move on to the garlic. There's a couple of ways you can do the garlic. You can do the garlic in a garlic press. You could also do it on a garlic scraper by grating it, or you could do it like quite a lot of the chefs do, which is literally on the base of the heel of your hand and a sharp knife, some pressure in and crushed by hand. So if you do it this way, you will be able to peel off the skin quite easily. And pop that to one side. And then what you're looking for there is nice thin chopping, again using the claw, and to mince it properly you can do is just with the blade of your knife just crush it to release some of those lovely garlicky oils. Now we're actually going to be putting this in a little blitzer, mini blitzer, because my husband and my son like smooth sauces and they don't particularly like onion. So I'm going to be popping all of these ingredients in with my curry powder, tiny little bit of the tomato passata, and make that into a bit of a paste, which I'm then going to saute in the pan. So to do ginger, ginger has a thick outer skin to the root. And all you need to do is just either peel or with a very, very sharp knife, if you're skilled, just take that outer skin off. And you can actually peel, I only want a thumb size, you can actually peel your ginger, or like me, because I'm going to be chopping it very finely and then mincing it, I'm just going to chop it finely to start with. There we go. I'm just going to take that ginger out of the way. As I say, this is going to go in a blender for me anyway. So I'm not too bothered about how roughly or how finely chopped it is. It'll go nicely minced down. So, got my garlic, got my ginger, got my onion, got my powder, I've got a tiny little bit of the tomato passata sauce, and I'm going to whiz it up in our liquidizer. So, one moment. So, we're back. We've still got our ginger, our garlic, our curry and our onions, and a tiny little bit of the passata in my liquid jug. Put our onions in there. Need a tiny little bit of liquid in to be able to help this mix together. Otherwise the stick blender, or hand blender as you call them, might not work. You want that to be a nice smooth paste to be able to fry it off and saute it in the pan. So here we go, here's my stick blender. It's all turned on electric, it's going to get quite noisy, so one moment. It is getting a bit thicker, a bit smoother. So it doesn't actually take very long to do. And then that's your curry paste now, ready, very similar to what you'd have if you bought it from a shop, and you just follow the recipe from there. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be frying this off just to release the aromas. Then we're going to be adding a little bit more of our passata, tasting it just for a little bit of extra curry powder if it's required. And then once our tikka is finished in the oven, we're going to be adding that to the masala to make our chicken tikka masala sauce. And in the meantime, we will have had some rice boiling on the pan as well. Bye for now. So now I'm going to pop the rice on. So because we have some naan breads with our curry today, I'm actually going to put only 50 grams per person of brown rice in. And so I've got 150 grams there for a family of 3. Fill up with some boiling water. Normally you need twice the volume of water to what you do for rice. And then I'll pop that on at about 7/8 or so of the heat that you should have. So I've got all the way up to 12 here, so I'm putting mine on 10. I'm going to put it just out of shot at the one just in front of that, because I'm going to actually now do our masala sauce. So I'm just going to take that off. It's going to boil now for up to 20 minutes. Do my masala sauce. So pop the hot pan on. Going to add a tiny little bit of oil. In this case, olive oil is what I've got in the house. Got my wooden spatula. I'm going to pop my paste in there. I think I possibly need a spoon. Well, the idea here is that we are releasing the aromas from the herbs and the spices. The spices mainly within the curry powders and the onion. Cooking the onion, which will sweeten the curry slightly. Through the caramelization of the onions. I don't know whether you can see that now. It's starting to bubble away. And we just cook that for 3 to 4 minutes. Constantly stirring so that it doesn't stick to the bottom or burn. So we should have a paper towel to pop our tools on. Now if I put the extractor fan on, what's going to happen is going to get very noisy, it's going to get very bright. So for now I'm going to keep the extractor fan off, otherwise you're not going to hear my lovely dulcet tones. So we're just cooking at the moment, as you can see, just cooking that tomatoey curry paste down a little bit for 3 to 4 minutes. Fast forward. So we fast forwarded now to about 4 minutes. The kitchen smells delicious. I've got proper Indian curry, lovely. What we're going to do now is add the rest of the passata. Do be careful because you're adding a cold liquid to a hot liquid and it could spit a little bit. That's all it's done. I'm just going to stir that around now. I'm going to let that simmer on a medium heat for about 10 to 15 minutes whilst the chicken tikka cooks within the oven. Stay tuned. So we're back, our masala sauce is bubbling away and we're just going to get the tikka out of the oven. You can see that there on shop. Tongs ready. So what we're going to do now is just pop our tikka pieces, which are nicely cooked through, into our masala sauce. Pop the lid back on there temporarily. So I've got my rice here ready. Just going to move the chicken out of the way. Okay. Oops. Up on top of the rice. Thanks for the best thing. So I'll bring it more into shot so you can see it. So our chicken tikka is now mixed with our masala sauce. It's just going to simmer now for a further 5 minutes whilst we drain our rice and just soften through and take on some of the flavours. So I've drained my rice through a miniature colander, and now I'm going to pop it into a cling film bowl and use it as a mould so that I'm shaping my rice into a mound shape which meets the GCSE and hospitality and catering skills that we're looking for. So I'll bring my dishes into shot now. And you'll see I've got a breadboard with some of my Indian dishes, and I'm just going to pop this upside down in this copper dish so it's ready to pop out in a moment. And I'll move my masala into shot and get a slotted spoon so I can get my chicken on display right into the centre of the dish. So you do want to see that lovely knife, those lovely knife skills that you've been doing. And obviously you can add any vegetables to these dishes as well. Some onions or some peppers would go quite nicely. And we're just going to add a tiny little bit of coriander. We're going to release the ring mould. And you can either pop a twist of lemon on the top or again a sprinkling of coriander. And here we go. We've got brown basmati rice with naan bread and chicken tikka masala. Enjoy!